So let's start. Caramel. Caramel.
Ramil?
Pasensya na po, ma'am. Um, so today we're gonna talk about the Coffee for Peace and the programs and policies adopted by the Coffee for Peace, programs and policies of the government adopted by Coffee for Peace. So our programs and policies, or the agency, government agency, is Bureau of Customs. So we have Judy-ann to talk about the introduction.
Introduction. Coffee is the second most traded product of our petroleum worldwide. Since the 18th century, the Philippines has been the next exporter of coffee, and it's one of the few countries trading for varieties of commercially viable coffee internationally: Arabica, Robusta, Liberica, and Excelsa. It has become the largest income producing crop for many small farmers in the Philippines who are dependent on it as their livelihood. Coffee for Peace is a social micro enterprise established in 2008 by Georgie Pantoja, the founder and the CEO. The organization works with indigenous people in rural areas of the Philippines to help promote the economic empowerment, peace and reconciliation, and the environmental stewardship. These some photos are the indigenous people and farmers of Mindanao. They are showing how to produce their coffee by separating it one by one. The organization trains individuals in entrepreneurship through partnership with indigenous, Christian, and Islamic communities in Mindanao. People are taught to grow coffee and methods to improve quality and volume of the harvest. This enables communities to supply coffee domestically and scale their operation to export the crop internationally. Coffee for Peace then buys it and fair trade and export it. It internationally promoted economic empowerment while overseeing operation to maintain a peaceful conflict-free community. Overall, the Coffee for Peace is not all about money. It is about the peace building of the region that uses coffee as a vehicle for peace and reconciliation. The Programs and Policies Bureau of Customs. From year 2016 to 2020, it was shown that the total amount of imported coffee to the Philippines is around 3.63 billion by a Statista Research Department 2021. As said by Georgie Pantoja, the Philippine coffee demand rising up to the 70% and are imported from the countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Rising Rising through the problem, Georgie Pantoja starts teaming up with the government and the rebels for reconciliation, and that is when the Coffee for Peace is created. The organization the, to train starts to start to train the farmers to grow and process a better quality of coffee, to promote harmony within the community and encourage them to market their crops. Coffee for Peace has been receiving support, especially from the programs and policy of the Bureau of Customs, Department of Agriculture, and Department of Trade and Industry.
So, when in fact, the Coffee for Peace took the lead of Davao Trade Expo in 2013 for the coffee industry that focused on golden crops, agriculture such as cacao, coconut, coffee, corn, and cassava. So these crops have been receiving high demand not just locally but in the international market. So that's according to PBCI Info County in 2013. So the Bureau of Customs is giving technical support towards the coffee industry with the help of DTI to provide market and trade promotions. So, the common trade barriers that named paradigm shift and as a free market economy holds the key to the future success that leads to a wide strength of the producing economy. So these barriers are the biggest problem of the number one exporting crops of the Philippines. So they are being hindrance for a continuous export outside the country. So according to Nelson, these trades prevent creating a diversified green and roasted coffee, which results in lack of variety and inhibits the consumption. So low consumption reduces demand, hurts prices, and then the reduced prices lowers the farmer's revenue. So since the agencies that we applied is the Bureau of Customs. So one of the policies and programs and policies of the Bureau of Customs is the trade barrier removal. So we're gonna talk about trade barrier removal. It is the trade barrier removal. Sorry, increases the commerce between countries, places economic opportunity and strength directly in the hands of producers. The adoption of the free trade will lead to the export of the coffee concepts to the other nation that will create continuous increased domestic demand and new job opportunities. So that's according to Nelson 2005. Through the adoption of the trade barrier removal, the Coffee for Peace has been able to export their first batch of blend coffee beans on the 9th of May 2011, Victoria, Canada. So that's according to the report of Fentes 2020. Furthermore, with an initial capital of 500,000, the company has been able to sell over 2,000 kilos of roasted coffee beans across Canada and US. So these are the pictures taken when when the farmers are preparing for the coffee beans to be exported in Canada. So after being the top supplier of coffee across Canada, it becomes a hit in the country and their orders are increasing. They were being asked to supply as much as 50 tons of coffee to the market of the said country. So this meant that the Coffee for Peace needed to scale up production. Okay, so here's the conclusion. We therefore conclude that the Bureau of Customs has a big role towards Coffee for Peace in processing their product by securing the exportation of the crops outside the country. So with the help of the trade barrier removal, the Coffee for Peace, it's easy for them to export their coffee beans without any barriers that let them to export easily. So this agency helps not only the company itself, but also the indigenous people in the rural areas of Davao region. In addition, it pushes the company to be international competitive in terms of coffee supply and production. So Coffee for Peace has been able to provide coffee domestically at the same time, meeting the higher demands and needs of the aspiring partners for our international organization. So in fact, a lot of aspiring um, buyers or clients outside the country like US have been inquiring to Miss Georgie Pantoja to supply coffee in their country. So that's a big opportunity for the Coffee for Peace to showcase their product. So here's the recommendation. We would like to suggest among the inspiring farmers and suppliers to engage in partnership with the government agencies that helps them to grow and globally competitive. So a lot of government agencies have been helping small entrepreneurs, small enterprises to grow their products, to sell more, and to improve into better ones. So with the help of Bureau of Customs, another corporation has been able to expand their products internationally, so which is Coffee for Peace. We then recommend farmers to continue adapting the programs of the government that continue the development of their business. So that would be all. Thank you. So yan lang po, ma'am, yung report po namin. Thank you po.